Tough spot for the Vikings. Kevin O'Connell making it clear yesterday in his session with reporters that they're looking at everything, long-term, short-term. How do you properly balance this out? And, you know, one thing they need to consider, Chris, it's kind of like what the Jets went through with Aaron Rodgers. If you would go out and make some big, bold move, like trade for Kyler Murray, which isn't going to happen, but that ties your hands. You've got no chance of Kirk Cousins next year. It slams the door. The Cousins injury actually makes it easier for the Vikings to keep Cousins next year if they choose to do so, because there's going to be less demand elsewhere for a guy coming off of a torn Achilles tendon at age 36. And maybe he'll view it as some sort of a sign that he should finish his career in Minnesota, and it's part of this broader story where he comes back heroically from the torn Achilles and, you know, finally gets that trophy he wants to put in the closet in the house in Michigan. So I think if the Vikings are looking for solutions, the best solutions, the only real solutions are this year only.
Yes.
Because you're going to be in a position to keep Cousins next year if you want to.
Right. And, I mean, by all due accounts and the way he's playing and the way Kevin O'Connell is talking about him, I feel like they want to. I feel like they had turned the corner of like, can't give this guy away just for anything here. We don't know what we're getting back or who we're able to draft or anything like that. So, you know, I hear you there. And that's where I kind of said last segment, you know, I certainly wouldn't leverage the farm or do something like that to get some quarterback right now. I wouldn't. There's too many holes on your roster still there in Minnesota, right, that I'd go, I don't want to not be able to fill them in the offseason. So I would, and again, you know, I know it's your team. Your Vikings aren't winning the Super Bowl this year either. So let's not do something drastic or, you know, without thought here, just to you know, ease the present situation. Keep the big picture in mind, and that's kind of where I get back into, like, if I were them with him getting hurt, I'd be a seller and be going, it's over, it ain't gonna work. Somebody blow us away for Danielle Hunter or somebody else, and we'll trade some of these guys. You want one of our secondary guys that's maybe older, somebody like that, whatever. But I would turn into a seller if I were them.
All right, so we're going to do this as a draft. We're going to go through their best options, and this is a great way to frame the conversation. I'll give you the first pick. Who should the Vikings turn to at quarterback with Cousins out for the rest of the year?
Okay, well, I'm going to cheat on the first one here a little bit. And you can piggyback off of the other one here. But I would call the Houston Texans first and go, one of the guys you got as a backup, Davis Mills or Case Keenum, like Texans backup quarterback. They got three right there right now, you know. And those two that I mentioned, Keenum and Davis Mills, you know, have extensive playing time. It's not like it's like, hey, we like them in the draft and we haven't really seen them play in the NFL. They've played. You know, and really kind of have a mental makeup of where you think, wait, they could be like a Kirk Cousins, not to that extent, but certainly would think they could have their style of offense still in play there. So those are the first ones I'll throw out. I don't mean to cheat on that. If you want to take one of those, feel free.
No, I don't want to take one of them.
Okay, all right, fine. No. Screw you then. They're mine.
Yeah. No, go ahead. You can have them both. I mean, Case Keenum has some nostalgic value given what he did in 2017, and I thought, frankly, they should have paid him the $18 million a year or $12 or whatever it was that he got from the Broncos instead of going all in with Kirk Cousins. Anyway, I warmed up to the Cousins idea because I thought it was going to take him next level, and as we've seen, it has yet to do so. Ideally, you want somebody that Kevin O'Connell has worked with in the past, but the cupboard is kind of bare in that regard, and it's getting even more bare. John Wolford is a guy that O'Connell has experience with. Rams came sniffing around for him yesterday. The Bucs moving him from the practice squad to the roster today, according to Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. So that's one guy that's worked with O'Connell, but I've always had a good feeling about Kevin O'Connell as a communicator, as a coach, as a guy who just gets it. You either get it or you don't. It's a very basic pass-fail litmus test. He gets it. And I think that he'd be able to find a way to work with somebody he's never worked with before. And I think he kind of relishes this challenge. They are in a no-lose situation now. The season's over. Let's bring somebody in and let's see what the hell happens. So I am warming to the idea of picking up the phone, pressing in the New Orleans area code, and asking for Jameis Winston.
Okay. I hear you.
I'm warming
I
to
didn't think
that
you were going to go
very
there
quickly.
I did not think you were going to go there. That would have been my next pick.
I feel like Kevin O'Connell might just be the one to get Winston to do the stuff he does well and to not do the stuff he doesn't do well. Because Winston's big flaw has always been he thinks he can do more than he can.
Sure.
And he tries to do something he can't, and it ends up being a video that you'll watch on a loop 100 times because it's like, what the hell was that? I think O'Connell, I think he can get Jameis. They could work together well, and it may be their best shot. 2, be competitive and not mortgage the future.
I hear that.
Keep the door open for Kirk Cousins next year.
I hear that. I do. Listen, I think of all some of the ones that are available out there, Jameis Winston clearly has the most talent in this conversation to where, like you're saying, if you can get him right and get him up to speed with the offense, I think he can maximize the potential there just about as much as anybody we're going to bring to the conversation here. And, hey, we know they got Taysom Hill in New Orleans, and they drafted the kid that I'm blanking on his name from Fresno.
Jake Haener.
Yeah, thank you.
Haener.
Way to go, Slugger. Yeah, Jake Haener. That would be the other. So they got guys there. How comfortable they are with that, I don't know. But I like your thought there with Jameis Winston. I didn't think you were going to go there. I might have picked him first if I thought you were going to. So that's a good one.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yep, up yours, okay? The next one I'm going to go to right now as far as I'm going to throw Josh Dobbs out there. Well, they moved him. Josh Dobbs, it's done. He's played some football here this year. They're going to Clayton Tune and Kyler Murray. Okay, you got 2 guys there. Sign somebody else to the practice squad. Put Josh Dobbs out there. He's played football. He's actually very accustomed to this situation. He did it last year for the Tennessee Titans. See what he can do. Josh Dobbs has definitely proved that, yes, he's not a starting quarterback, but he's a very good backup quarterback nonetheless. That's for sure. That'd be another guy that I would throw out there that, hey, has played. He's ready to go right now. He's got to learn the offense. We know that. But, it's still, I think, one of the better options out there, at least in my opinion.
I am going to throw you a curveball on this one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Trey Lance is on our list of potential options, and that's a guy that the Vikings have been connected to in the past. There was some reporting done, and I think we might have been part of it. I don't know. It's been too long ago that the Vikings and the 49ers were talking about a trade that would have brought Lance to Minnesota and Cousins would have been sent to San Francisco. That there
GMs
was
from the
along those
49ers,
lines.
right? Yeah.
Cowboys swooped in and got Trey Lance when he finally became available. The Vikings didn't look at him carefully. How about this? How about you say to the Cowboys, okay, fine. You got Trey Lance. Trade us Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush. Final answer.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush beat the Vikings. Cooper Rush, playing in place of Dak Prescott on a Sunday night, beat the Vikings. Unless that's just some nightmare that didn't actually happen.
Oh, no, it happened.
I'm pretty damn sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cooper Rush beat the Vikings.
He
Cooper
did.
Rush has done well. You're just looking for somebody that you can go out there and run your system. Maybe Cooper Rush can do it, Chris. I'm kind of intrigued by the possibility of Cooper Rush. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to let him go, but I'm kind of intrigued by it.
I like I did with the Texans, I did the same thing with the Cowboys and wrote both of those names down. Like, hey, one of the two, whatever. Cowboys backups. Who will you give us there, right? But yeah, Cooper Rush. He's played. He's done some good things. I mean, what did they do last year? Were they 5-2 under Cooper Rush as a starter, right? It was something like that. I mean, I watched them beat the New York Giants on a Monday night, who were a playoff team last year. So he's, played, knows how to manage a football game, do all that. I get you there. I do. The last one for me, we know Colt McCoy's out there. I hear that. Ryan Tannehill, Jacoby Brissett. The problem with Washington is Howell gets hit a lot, and are they going to feel good with Jake Fromm as their backup? I don't know. That's why I don't know if they would really trade Jacoby Brissett at this point. I'll throw Ryan Tannehill out there. I'll throw Ryan Tannehill. I'll put them if they decide they want to go maybe a little more all in than we expect. Ryan Tannehill, I do think could be the closest thing they could find to Kirk Cousins. And again, he's got to learn the offense. I know that, but I think Ryan Tannehill's better than people realize still, and he could, maybe open up some eyes on that offense.
All right, last one for me, and I saved it until the end because I knew you weren't going to say it. But this is my hope. Oh, gosh. This is my dream.
Please don't end the segment.
This is my fantasy.
Oh, my gosh. Don't say it, please.
Oh, Tom Brady. I hate to take your Aaron Rodgers song.
Don't you do that.
Yeah, and I poked around a little bit yesterday. Apparently, he's, number one, too damn skinny right now to come play football. And number two, he's kind of too sucked away into whatever it is that he's doing now that it's not going to happen. I can't help but wonder, though, whether he just thought about it. How could you not think about it? Because he still can play. He still can play.
Sure.
He knows he can still play. He said that when he retired. He still loves it, and he knows he can do it. This is his test. If he's ever going to come back, it's going to be now. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm holding out hope that it will. I've got a candle in the window for Tom Brady. Let's see. Let's go. Let's effing go, Tom Brady. You spent summers in Minnesota. Your mom's from Minnesota. Go get Super Bowl ring number 8, although that's probably not going to happen. That's part of the pitch to get him there.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't think it's – I think he's too much of a perfectionist and somebody that wouldn't do it at this point because he knows he's not quite – like he knows he could play, but he'd be like, wait, I need like 6-7 weeks to kind of get in shape, get going a little bit again. And that's where I just don't think it is. And as I told you, I think yesterday, I think he's – enjoying life from everything it looks like and what I see and what I hear. So good for him. I'm glad he is. Don't go back to the Vikings. The hell with Florio. Enjoy your retirement, Tom Brady.
With all that said, my gut tells me they're just going to roll the dice with Jaren Hall and see what they can coach.
Well, where are we at with Nick Mullins right now, Mr. Vikings fanatic? How far are we away from maybe him being ready to play again? That's the one thing that I feel like I haven't heard or hasn't been made clear to me, right? And yes, to your point, if he's around the corner, then I would just be like, hey, we'll ride with Jaren Hall one more week, and then Nick Mullins can be the starter after that, and therefore we don't have to leverage the farm like we talked about, make some big move here.
Mullins is on injured reserve.
Yeah.
He went on at about the same time Justin Jefferson did. One more game before the window opens on a potential return.
Right.
So back injury, I don't know that he's able to come back as soon as the 4 weeks is up, but he has to miss the Falcons game Sunday. He'd be eligible to return for the Saints game the following week. And I wonder if the proximity of that Saints game is a reason for the Saints to not be inclined to trade Jameis Winston. Again, the information doesn't help much, and maybe they'd say this is a good thing because we know Jameis Winston. Yeah, we'd like to go play against Jameis Winston. We know everything he does. That gives us an edge in that game. But regardless, those are the next two games: Falcons, Saints. They've got the Bears coming up again. They've got the Packers. Their big games left are 2 in Detroit against Detroit, 1 there obviously, and 1 in Minnesota, and the game at Cincinnati. The rest of the games of the final 9 are all objectively winnable if you have a quarterback that can move your offense. We'll see what they do. If they're going to trade for somebody, again, 4 o'clock Eastern today is the deadline. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.